Hi everyone, today I wanted to introduce you to probably one of the most underrated and yet fantastic dog toy there is out there. It's the Mighty Kong. I absolutely adore this toy and I wouldn't go anywhere without it. There's lots of different shapes and sizes. So this is a medium one, you have a small one here, you also have that really, the bone one. And of course other brands do it too. We've got the Odin there, which is also one of my favorite for dry treats, another food dispensing toys for dogs. So the reason I like those toys so much, it's because first of all you're going to get the dog involved and cognitively involved with this toy, and when the dog is cognitively involved with the toy, one of the great things is that it's less likely to feel stress or anxious. So you can already see how useful this can be. But on the top of this, whilst your dog is going through this Kong, through this puzzle, there's 100 things that it cannot do instead, such as eating your wallet, your shoes, your phone, your glasses, your CDs, your table, your chairs, your sofa. The list absolutely goes on. So when people say to me, oh, my dog is eating the sofa or chewing the chair, what do we want him to do instead? Has he got anything else he could chew in? Well, if he hasn't, let's introduce him to a Kong. So some clients sometimes say that the dog is not really interested in Kongs. This is quite an unlikely thing to happen. If the Kong is filled with really boring stuff, then yes, it is very likely that the dog is going to get a little bit bored of it. Or worse, if there is nothing in a Kong, then the dog is definitely not going to pay much interest in this. Think of the Kong as television. If it's switched off, you're not going to be watching it. And if it's a rubbish program, you might not be watching it either. So we're going to fill it up with some amazing food just to make sure that the dog really enjoys playing this puzzle. So what we have here, actually everything we have on the table right now is all human grade food. So I could have that if I wanted to, and actually it's quite some of it is quite tempting. So what do we have? We have some of my dog's food. So that's the butternut box food that we have. Today is beef. We have some sardine. I made some sweet potato mash. We have bananas, we have apples. Now be careful with the apple. The dog must never have the pip inside, so avoid the core altogether, but otherwise apples, fruit are great. We also have some seaweed, which is super healthy. We've got cottage cheese here, some fancy smoked salmon. We also have chicken, carrots, cooked carrots, and some beans. We also have some of the treats that we use at home here. So how we're going to fill this all up within our Kong. For the first one, I'm going to start with some cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is a much healthier option than perhaps cream cheese that is quite high in sugar and quite high in fat. Put a little bit more. Then some super healthy seaweed. Great, then I'm going to add some tiny little slice of smoked salmon, and I'm going to grate an apple. A bit of messy job. Great, and here you have it. So this is one of my dog Bernard's favorite Kong. I'm going to put this one into the freezer for a couple of hours so it's nice and stiff. It could be there for longer. You can have those ready whenever. And that's definitely one of his favorite ones, and quite festive as well. So in the other Kong, I'm going to start with some sardine. A tiny little bit of sardine at the bottom of the Kong. Right there. So there's a nice smelly little treat for the dog to finally get to. Once I've done this, I'm going to add some sweet potato mash. So I just basically boil some sweet potatoes and mash them roughly. So that's the next layer. I quite like to also put some of Bernard's food. So we use butternut box at our house. So this is the beef version of his meal, and I will put a little bit of his food there for the next layer, and that can be the allowance from his day meal. And then to finish, I will stick a couple of treats inside. So it has something exciting and easy to get right at the top. So whilst we're looking at all the beautiful ingredients we can put in a Kong, here are a few that you should never feed your dog. Apple seeds, avocados, chocolate, fake sugar, coffee, garlic, chive, onions, grape, macadamia nuts, mustard seeds, raisins, rhubarb leaves, tomato leaves, walnuts, yeast, and of course alcohol. There's a few ingredients that I always make sure I don't put in my Kong. They're not bad for dogs. They're just simply a little bit too easy or too unhealthy. Peanut butter, for example, far too easy to lick off. Cream cheese, same, plus pretty high in sugar and high in fat. Too many fruit, as it will be too high in sugar. And loose dry treats. It's just simply too boring. So when people say the dog is not too interested in the Kongs, I generally think we need to just make sure that we work out what is the dog's favorite food, and then we just play with it and just have fun with it. So try different recipes. You'll have a lot of those recipes on my website, and then change the food. You know, it might not be the obvious chicken that your dog is going to like. The dog might go crazy for carrots or green beans. So just keep trying until you find exactly what the dog's favorite filler is. And then also, you don't want to always just leave the Kong when you leave. You don't want this to be paired to you leaving the house, okay? So it's really important that to start with, when you start introducing the Kong to your puppy or even to your older dog, that you play with it, you know? So hold the Kong, help him, squeeze, hold it for him, put it onto your foot, and just compliment the dog on how amazing he is and how clever he is for emptying and playing with this puzzle. This will make the Kong a much more fun game for the dog. Great. So yeah, have a look at my website. There's lots of recipes, and there will be more and more coming every month. And then we'll leave it to this. See you soon.